Hey there, everyone. Welcome back. If you're coming back, thanks for being here. If this is your first video you're watching, I encourage you to watch others. I'm going to be posting a lot about survival and learning how to live as a domestic violence, intimate partner violence survivor, and then also just kind of a survivor of many things in life. So this is going to be the first video of a series of videos, and it's going to be about the things people say. And so this one's kind of difficult because people, I think in general, a lot of times say things with the best intent. It's just good intent, poor execution. You know, they think that they're helping. They think that by providing some sort of advice or asking some sort of question or saying some sort of statement that they are helping. And I think that a lot of times that intent is so pure and they want to help and they want to do something. And a lot of times, especially with my experience as a DV survivor and with my children as DV survivors, a lot of people don't know what to do. You know, they hear these horrible things that happen, these horrible stories of what, you know, you've endured. And I use the royal you a lot. I am only speaking from my experience. Disclaimer, I only speak from my experience. I don't speak for all DV survivors, all abuse survivors, victims. I don't speak for anyone but myself and my experience and my opinion, having survived so much in my really young life. So I think just a lot of times people hear these horrible things and then they're like, oh my God, like I don't even know what to do. Like how do I help? And then, you know, sometimes people do, you know, what I find to be the most helpful, which is not really say anything and just kind of like hang out and just say, hey, you know, I'm there for you, or, you know, you just know that they're there for you, but really don't impart any other knowledge on you, you know, knowledge bombs in that moment. It's not that what they say is not useful or beneficial or even true. It's just in that moment, it might not be the right thing. So I will say that for me, it's always best for someone to say, what can I do for you? You know, and then for that person to be open to the response. You know, what does that look like? You know, it could be that, you know, I just need you to be here. I don't need you to say anything, or I just need you to listen, or, you know, I really need some advice right now, or have you ever experienced this? But by asking the question, what do you need right now? What can I do for you right now? Accepting that there might be something, but accepting that there might be nothing, and that's okay. But I would implore people to not just start dropping knowledge bombs on people or dropping their experiences on people and saying, oh, well, I went through the exact same thing, but you didn't. And even if you did, you didn't have the same experience. So just, I would say, be open to asking the question, allowing that person you're speaking to that's in this space of just getting out of a DV situation or an abuse situation or just a hard traumatic situation, or that has maybe been triggered from a historical situation. I have a video on triggers if you want to, my experience with triggers if you want to watch that. But people say things and it's with the purest intent, but it's just really not a good thing. So why am I recording this video? So you can see I'm kind of shiny. The reason why is because I actually managed to get some time to, you know, wash my face and scrub it and do some sort of skincare. And I put, you know, oil in my hair and oil on my face. Now, why do I do this? It actually started. Oh, okay. It actually started because after the final assault, my face was so horrifically just bruised and black and blue and brown and green and red, and it was bruised very obviously to where other people could see it for about 6 weeks. You know, you could still see it. You could see discoloration in the light. And then some of the bruises didn't really go away. Now I have dark circles because I don't really sleep that much. I mean, survival, like, survival really doesn't ode well to sleeping. Um, but I have horrible nightmares. I have every night, all night, every night. So does my one of my children. Um, the other one just can't remember her dreams, or nightmares. But I guess just to start with, what statement am I talking about that people say? Okay, so the statement that I hear a lot, and I've heard a lot for a really, really long time, especially when I first got out, and in the last almost 2 years, it's going on, or in May, June, July. We're at 22 months since I've been physically out, since we fled our abuser, and it has not been an easy 22 months, and I'll go into that more. But the statement that I heard a lot even before that, and since then especially, is you really need to take care of yourself. That one's really hard because it's like, what they're trying to say. Like, okay, well, really need to take care of yourself. You hear the statement of, hey, if you're on a plane, put your mask on before you put somebody else's mask on, because if you go down, they go down, right? So you have to take care of yourself first. Another one I hear from someone very close to me is self-aid before buddy aid, right? Like, if you have a buddy that's bleeding out, like, and you're injured too, well, you can't help them if you don't take care of yourself, right? If you bleed out, they're going to bleed out, and now you're both gone, or in a really bad situation. But if you take care of yourself first and get yourself stabilized, and then you help the other person, well, there's a better chance of you both making it through. The thing is that statement is really, really hard for anyone. If you take care of anything living, even sometimes if you're just trying to take care of yourself, but you battle with something like depression or anxiety or agoraphobia or anything else where life just seems so overwhelming, taking care of yourself is really, really hard. And if you are taking care of another living being, whether it be that you're a pet parent or you're a parent to, little ones like children or whatever of any age, or maybe you're taking care of a dependent adult, or someone who has mental health issues or someone who has disabilities, like, that statement of you really need to take care of yourself is really difficult, because it's like, yeah, I know. Like, great. You really need to not jump off that cliff. Well, yeah, I mean, duh. Like, I obviously know this. I obviously know that I need to take care of myself. And your statement to me of you really need to take care of yourself, while I understand the intent is pure and I get what you're saying, like, all I'm trying to do is make it through the day. Like, and I'm doing my best. If at the end of the day, I look back and I go, I did my fucking best, then I did my best. Like, there's nothing else I can do. In that statement of, like, you really need to take care of yourself, like, it makes me feel like, man, you really aren't doing it. You really aren't doing the right things. Like, you're really fucking up, especially as an abuse survivor, someone who's dealt with so much abuse, like, and being blamed for everything. It's like, do you realize what I do every day? For me personally, taking care of my children, taking care of my pets. Yes, they're choices, of course. Like, I chose to have pets. I chose to have children. Some people don't, I guess, intentionally choose to have children, but they have them, right? So yeah, I made these choices, but there are other choices in life that I didn't make, that compound things, that make things more difficult. And so it's one of those things where it's like, yes, I know that, but just because you know something doesn't make it possible in that moment. Just because you know something doesn't make it feasible, and not even from a physical sense or like time or having the resources. The emotional drain of taking care of yourself is, like, it's so hard. At the end of the day, I'm like, I just want to sit down. I just want to sit down for 5 minutes. And like, the last thing I'm going to think about is doing my skin, get on a skincare routine. There's no routine in survival. There's no fucking routine. Like, You're literally just trying to make it through. You're literally just trying to make sense of what the hell is happening. And so the last thing I'm thinking about is, oh, I'm going to wash my face with this. I'm going to oil my face with this. I'm going to blah, 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 right? Now, there is so much importance to taking care of yourself. So again, it's not that the statement is not factual in itself. It's that when someone imparts that on you and someone says, oh, you really need to take care of yourself, you're like, holy shit, man. Like, I know, like, I'm doing my best. So where did my, I guess, self-care kind of start? My self-care actually started through trying to heal from my injuries. So as I was saying at the beginning, my face was so just horribly bruised. I had double black eyes. My jaw had been displaced. I had 3 loose molars. They were loose like 2 weeks after the assault. So to dislodge, and I will show my teeth because right there, look how tight those are. Okay, so there's like, you can barely get floss in my teeth. Like, it's hard, right? And so to dislodge 3 adult molars for 2 weeks post-assault, and it actually was even thereafter. It took a long time for them to tighten up. They might be permanently damaged. There's no way to know until they start to die over time. If they do, hopefully they don't, because I try to really take care of my teeth. But that's how hard I was hit. And mind you, I was hit with a fist, right? So that's how hard that assault was. That's how bad it was. And so I had bruises all over my face. I had bruises all over my body. And some of the bruises didn't heal. They weren't going away. And my face was very, very, very discolored. I had also, when I had fled, I was like 163, 165 pounds. I am now about 123 to 128, depending on the day. That's significant. And what's crazy is when I was in that situation, I couldn't lose weight. And it wasn't, I'm really big on like not body shaming people. Like if you're healthy and you're taking, the best care of yourself that you can, you're trying the best you can, and that's where your body lands. That's where your body lands. This whole like, oh, well, you're too fat. Oh, well, you're too skinny. Oh, and I've heard that one too. Like, oh, what are you, anorexic? Like, no, I'm just small. But people love, again, to make these statements or focus their attention on the physical existence of another. If you feel the need to focus your attention on the physical existence of another, you really need to reevaluate your existence as a person, yourself. So I digress. I like to go on thought tangents. I apologize. But so anyway, I'm in this situation. I'm like 163, 165 pounds. I cannot lose weight. I'm trying to take care of myself. I'm sick all the time. My body is horribly inflamed. Just everything, right? Like I have reasons to believe that was not my doing or any other organic compounds doing. It was inorganic compounds that were being given to me, which I will never be able to prove. But when I got back, within a month, when I got back home to my home state, within a month, I lost, I was 163 and I dropped to 123. So I dropped 40 pounds in a month. It wasn't intentional. I left that environment. I maintained pretty much the same healthy diet. 40 pounds in a month. Call it stress if you want. I don't know, man. Like I've never heard of something like that. 40 pounds worth of stress, but maybe. So I dropped all of this weight, and as a result, I had oh, my hands are shaking. I had a lot of sagging in my face. Now, again, aging is a natural, beautiful thing. But for me, every time I looked at my face, I could see my bruises, those permanent bruises that hadn't healed. And I could see the sagging in my face. And every time it reminded me of him and what he did to me, that night and what he had done to me over a decade, and what he had done to my children, and what he had done to my family, because he actually assaulted my parents at one point in their own home, and demanded my at the time I think he was like 74 years old, my 74-year-old father to fight him, stepfather, to fight him, because he was out of control and angry, and demanded that as a around 40-year-old man, he was going to fight a 70-something-year-old older man. That's just disgusting. Anyway, so self-care was really hard, not only from a time perspective, and just like, but money, right? Like, I hadn't spent money on myself for years. And every time I tried, I was told, oh, well, that money should be going to this something for him. Oh, that money, blah, 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 blah. Like, he could go blow money on alcohol. That was no problem. But if I tried to do something for myself, like, how dare I? Especially when he wasn't working. He hadn't worked for years, and I literally was paying for everything. But how dare I use my own money to take care of myself, right? So self-care was something that had already almost been beaten out of me, literally. So that was very difficult to even justify the money, to justify the time. And then, to be completely honest, at that time, I was like, I don't deserve this. Like, I can't do that. Like, I can't take time away from doing other things to care for myself. But the pain of being reminded, seeing the bruises that were still there, seeing the sagging because I had lost 40 pounds in a month after leaving this environment, like, I was like, okay, I got to do something. So I got my first facial. I went to an esthetician, like, whatever, and I got my first facial, and it was hard. Like, I literally remember getting in the little towel thing, right? So I'm in a room that I don't know, and I'm like getting undressed, and I was just like, oh my, like, what if someone walks in? Like, what if there's a camera? What if there's, whatever? And I start going through this in my head, and I had to literally go through and be like, you're fine. Everything is okay. He's not here. He's not going to bust in. He has no idea where you are. Nobody has any idea where you are. Like, you've covered all your tracks. You've done, reverse surveillance. Like, you've done everything. There's nothing you can do. And so just try to enjoy this. So I put on a little towel, and I sit on the bed, and I was told to get under the sheet thing. And I go to get under it, and I feel like I'm being suffocated. Like, I'm trapped, right? And I'm like, oh shit. Like, now if someone walks in, I'm not only in this vulnerable position of not being clothed, I'm now also under this wrapped sheet and this wrapped blanket, and then I'm like dealing with this triggering experience of that feeling of being sat on, which he did do multiple times to smother me with a pillow, and then hit me or choke me or whatever. So I'm having this really horrible experience, but I know I need to do it. Now, this is another thing when people say, oh, well, you need to take care of yourself. Like, I know that, and in this moment, I am trying so hard to get through this, and I can literally feel, I might start to get blotchy, but I can literally feel it, like the tightness in my chest right now, just thinking back on it. And then obviously I'm running through the horrible thing with having great memories. You remember everything. But I can literally feel like that feeling of like, holy shit, like this is a lot, right? And I start to cry because I don't know what else to do. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't go through this, but I need to take care of myself. I'm not only hearing that from others, but I'm telling myself I need to take care of myself, and I need to get rid of these bruises, and I need to fix my face, and I need to be able to move on, and I need to, I was given this opportunity to survive. Like, I need to learn how to live, and I need to teach people, right? And so I went through with it, right? She walks in, just beautiful woman. She's so sweet and so innocent. I would come to find out that she had her own traumas. Hers was around trying to conceive. And it was very painful for her. It was a very painful experience. And, that goes to that saying, be kind, because everyone is fighting their own battle. Like, this girl is so sweet. She's so young. She's so innocent, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, damn, that must be nice, right? Like, oh, wow. Like, she talks about her husband and how loving he is and, all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, like, good for you, right? But she had her own traumas. She had her own demons, her own experiences that I would come to find out later. She comes in and she goes, are you okay? And I had explained what was going on beforehand. And she just sat there and she said, we don't have to do this today if you don't want to. We can just sit here for your entire appointment. That in itself, I was like, her giving me the grace and space to be able to do that was profound. And I was like, okay, she gets it. Like, she just wants to be there. So I went through with the facial and it helped, right? And I would go on to go through more. They were very expensive. I'm very lucky in that I had, some financial, I don't know about support. Like, I support myself, but like I have a very, I'm a very successful person in my career. So I had some money that I had saved up to actually try to heal. So it was expensive. I learned how to do a lot of things at home, but that initial just getting there, I knew I wouldn't do it at home. I knew I needed somebody else to do it for me, somebody else to help me. And so I went through with it. I went on to get, I think like 3 or 4 more facials. I also had to do a special, I don't remember what it's called, but it's microneedling that uses infrared light as well to try to tighten up my skin, try to remove the bruising. So it was I think it was like 4 or 5 facials and then one of the microneedling sessions to try to get my face to an even skin tone, to get rid of the bruising, and then to try to get rid of the sagging. Some of it's still there. It will never go away, and that's okay. I mean, it's part of my story, but it at least is minimized to the point where I don't look in the mirror and I'm instantly reminded of everything that he did, and everything that we went through at his words and hands, and feet. So, that was the initial starting. So what happened with me? Like, how did that help? Okay. So like I said, I didn't know that, or I knew that I needed to heal myself. I knew that I needed, to take care of me and to not be triggered every time I looked at my own face, and to understand what self-care was. And I knew I wasn't going to get there on my own. I knew being at home, I was just going to work on court cases or writing statements or, whatever else. So I knew I needed help from someone else. I knew I needed to go somewhere where I felt safe. I made sure that nobody knew where I was except for people that I really immensely trusted. And there was only 2. One's my current partner and one is my mom. So only those 2 people knew where I was at the time. But I knew I needed someone else to do it for me. I knew I needed somebody else to help me through that. And that was really hard because I've been doing everything pretty much alone for so long. And I had been isolated, and I had a really hard time trusting anyone. I still do. I mean, truth be told, I've been very open. The only person I really 100% trust at this point in my life is me. But I went through with it, and I saw the results, right? I saw what that self-care did, not only for my face, but for my emotion, my psyche, my psychological existence, And then I went on to do other things. So another thing I had to do to heal my injuries is I had to get a personal trainer. I didn't know at the time that in the assault, my PCL had been torn and I would need a knee replacement revision. 20 months later, I didn't know that. But the whiplash, I went to my family's chiropractor who I had been seeing since he knew my mom before I was even born, right? So he knew me from the time I was a baby. So I knew I could trust him. And I went, and when he did all the x-rays and everything like that, he said that I had whiplash consistent with a high-speed collision. Now, I hadn't been in a high-speed collision, but in the final assault, this individual decided that as I was walking away, stumbling away, because I had been knocked unconscious multiple times at this point, that his self-defense was to walk up behind me and punch me in the back of the head, knocking me completely unconscious until EMS arrived. So in that final blow to the back of my head right here, my head went forward and back, obviously, and completely jacked up my neck. Everything up here was horribly damaged, still is, and probably always will be. My body, because I had lost so much weight, I hadn't been taking care of myself. My hip had been micro fractured in multiple places. My knee was torn at the time, which I didn't know. My spine was twisted and curved. My hips, my pelvis was twisted. I had 3 vertebrae in my C-spine that were compressing. I had two compressed spaces in my lower lumbar. My shoulder was completely messed up, had been partially dislocated and put back in. So a lot of injuries, and so I ended up getting a personal trainer. It was expensive. It was expensive. This whole process has been crazy. It has been crazy expensive. I had to pay my own medical bills. I also paid for his, because his claims went through first on my claims went through first on my insurance, and so I got billed for my injuries, and then at that point I had reached my out-of-pocket maximum, and so he didn't get charged for his. He didn't get billed for his, so he got to damn near kill me for free. Great, okay. So I got a personal trainer, and this personal trainer was very kind, and had gone through his own trauma and his own horrible experiences, and had actually been in a relationship himself with a narcissistic abuser. Now, people always think that DV victims, survivors, are women and children. That is not true. That is, from statistically speaking, that is the majority. That's a large portion of it. But we also have to consider that in statistics, not all situations are taken into account, right? It's an estimate. It's based on what we know. Men probably just don't come forward as much as women, maybe. I don't know. But men are also victims, survivors of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and other forms of abuse. So he himself had been in this relationship that was really toxic, really horrible, and had gotten out of it. So he had this understanding. And we went through this. And he helped me a lot. He helped me understand healing. He helped me understand my physical existence. Wonderful human, wonderful person. Here's the thing, though. When you get a trainer, or you have someone who you commit something to, he told me when I first signed on with him, he told me, he said, I only have one request of you. And I was like, okay. And I go, oh, fuck, here we go. It's gonna, it's gonna be something that's gonna remind me of, my abuser. Always show up. Come to every appointment, even when you feel horrible and you don't want to get out of bed and you just can't. You feel like you can't do it. Even if you're not feeling physically great, just show up. And I made that commitment. I said, yep, okay. And I did. And he was so fucking right. There were so many days when I was like, I can't do this today. Like, I don't want to lift a single fucking weight. I can't even lift my finger. I feel horrible. I still have my heart arrhythmias are going off from that I've now acquired as a result of the assault. Like, I don't feel well. I'm emotionally just beat to crap. Like, I just can't do it. And then I would remember that I had made a commitment, to this individual that I would show up no matter what. And I wasn't about to break my commitment. I was not about to break my moral code, my intrinsic code to keep the commitment that I had made. And so I did, and I kept showing up, and I was doing it twice a week, and I was showing up, and I was showing up, and I was showing up, and it sucked. I would walk in. I still to this day walk into therapy, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm very honest. I'm like, I don't want to fucking be here. And they're okay. They know that I don't want to be there, and they're okay with that. I'm very open. I'm very honest about my experiences because, like I've said before, this shit thrives in silence. And when I keep it in, it just hurts. And so, sometimes I don't want to be there. And it's a respect thing for them to know, like, I'm not here right now. I'm not fucking here. I'm not here. Whatever you say, I'm probably not going to want to listen to you. But you know what? Like, we're going to get through this. At least I showed up. I showed up because I made a commitment. But then I started showing up for me. Because and my children, and my family and my friends and those who were supporting me. And the victims who are still in. And the survivors who have gotten out, who are lost. For whom I'm recording these videos, right? Like, people who need help, people who need to understand like what somebody else's experience is. So I kept showing up, and I got stronger, and my body didn't hurt as much, and my ligaments healed, and my muscles healed. My knee ended up being replaced again, but I learned through that my body and the pain I was experiencing could be helped by self-care. And I learned probably one of the most valuable things, that my body was mine, and that I was going to go through these experiences of feeling sore because I had made the choice to take care of myself, right? So it was a reminder. Working out, exercising was a reminder that I had done that for me, that I was sore because I busted my ass to take care of myself, and that I lifted that weight. Nobody lifted it for me. I lifted that weight. That I had made the choice to show up, even though I didn't want to, that I was doing what I needed to do to take care of myself so that I could take care of my family, that even through everything that was going on, I was battling. I was still battling. I'm still a warrior. I am a survivor, and I deserve that shit. So it was, these little things. And then eventually doing things at home got easier. I learned through Pinterest how to do my own skincare stuff. I don't buy expensive stuff. How to do my own hair masks. I don't buy expensive stuff. Going through this morning, what did I do? I scrubbed my face with baking soda. I'm sure they're going to be like estheticians or like like people who do skincare and stuff. They're going to freak out, but it works for me. So I scrubbed my face with baking soda. I then cleaned it with, what's it called? Witch hazel. And then I put, what's it called? Niacinamide and a peptide B complex that I got off Amazon, and vitamin C, oil on, let that go. And then I did, coconut oil, aloe vera gel, and vitamin E on top, just to kind of soothe my skin, right? None of that's expensive. But to get to that point of even looking it up on Pinterest and like trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing and like what happens to skin when you put this stuff on it, the trial and error, knowing that I don't have money, but knowing that I need to take care of myself and trying to figure out how the hell you do that, working out at home, like looking up exercises at home because I couldn't afford a trainer anymore. Like I've said in other videos, rich daddy pays for his abusive son's legal expenses, living expenses. My abuser, literally, I have to pay him. It's called alimony or spousal support. I call it abuser support because that's what it is. I pay him an exorbitant amount of money every month. Instead of taking care of my children, I pay this man-child. So I knew I had to figure this out, but getting to that point took literally like a year of having somebody have to help me. And everyone's journey is different. Well, it took me a year to even start to look shit up and start to think in that direction. It might take others 5 years. It might take them 10. It might take them 6 months. It might take them no time at all. Everyone's journey is completely different, right? So I went through this. Is self-care important? Fuck yeah, it is. It is. It is important. It's critical. It is critical. That is not lost on me. I don't think that's lost on anybody who gets told that or who knows that, right? Like, there are scientific benefits to, when you're lifting, the endorphins that are released when you're exercising, and how much that helps you, the hormonal balance, if you're male or woman, you got testosterone, you've got, if you're on your, cycle or whatever, like it's important, scientifically proven that self-care is critical to physical health and mental health. That's not a lie, but it's also not always possible. And when people say, and I'm literally thinking about this when I'm in the bathroom getting ready, and I'm like, oh my God, I finally got to the point of being able to fucking wash my face. And then I was like, yeah, take care of yourself. You really need to take care of yourself. You really need to wash your face. You really need to eat. You really need to lose weight. You really need to, go to therapy. You really need to take time to yourself. You really need a vacation. You really need to do your nails. You really need to, just go get another tattoo because you love them so much and they make you so happy. Obviously, I'm covered. I'm not covered, but I will be one day. All these things, you need to care for yourself, care for yourself, care for yourself. Yes, I know. We know we need to care for ourselves. But that experience, that journey is individual, and it's really not for anybody to tell you. So for those who say things like this, please don't. I know that I'm asking, maybe I'm not asking a lot, maybe I am, I don't know. But it's not for you. It's not for you to tell someone else, hey, you really need to care for yourself. If you really feel the need to tell someone else that, like, people are mirrors for others. So if you're saying that to someone else, realize that reflection is probably on you and not them. If you really want to help someone care for themselves and that's your intent, beautiful, how can I help you? What do you need from me? I've noticed that eating is really hard for you. Is there something I can do to help you? And if they say no, it's no. No means no under all circumstances. If they say that they do need something, okay, then maybe you can help them with that. And if you're the person who's receiving this feedback or this unsolicited opinion from someone, yeah, I feel you. Yep, we know we got to do that. We know we got to care for ourselves. We know we have to do all of these things, but I see you. I recognize that you are trying your best. I recognize that everyone's journey is different, that while it took me 1 year to even look shit up on Pinterest, it might take you 10. You may not ever get there, and you just have to make it through every day. And you know what? That's okay. If at the end of the day, you look back and you say to yourself, I did my best today, then that's all you can fucking do. And I recognize you. I know other people who truly care about you recognize you. And all I can say is, do your best every day. Ask for help when you feel you need it and you're at that point of being able to ask for help. If you get to the point of being able to care for yourself, just do what you can do in that moment for that day and let that be enough, because it is enough. And it's not on anybody else to make you feel bad for what you did or did not do. You are enough. You are worth it. But your journey is your journey. Your experiences are your experiences. And how you get there and when you get there is completely individualized to you. So in the Things People Say series, the statement of, you really need to take care of yourself. Think about that before you say it to someone. And then think about it if you're on the receiving end of how that actually impacts you, and feel free to say, you know what, I'm doing my best. And that's enough. Thank you, everyone. I don't do the like and subscribe thing for any sort of monetization or whatever. I do it because I want to make sure these videos get to those who need it, who need them. So if you feel so inclined to help yourself, help others, please subscribe. I'll be posting more videos. Please like, so that people can see that they're maybe worth watching if you feel that they are. And feel free to comment. I do try to respond to comments the best of my ability, to keep that conversation going and raise that awareness. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.